Welcome to the August 2022 Missouri Evergreen Cataloging Meeting. We have a lot of stuff to go over today. Thank you, everybody who participated in our discussion on things that we want to discuss in meetings and in future meetings. The agenda that I made kind of turned into my notes, so I'll just send out these notes after the meeting. So we're going to start with some cataloging committee news. Greg, our consortium cataloger, is staying on through the end of August to oversee the certifications. I spoke to him this morning. We have great numbers on these certification guys. 100 basic certifications, 57 advanced certifications. It is August 8th and everybody has until August 31st to complete the certification process. Every library in Missouri Evergreen does need to have at least one certified cataloger at your library district. We've only got a handful of libraries that are left, so I appreciate everyone so much that has gone in and gotten those certifications finished. Since Greg will be leaving us at the end of August, we are in the process of trying to hire a new consortium cataloger. We have had a couple interviews and hopefully we will be choosing someone soon. That's exciting, and I will be excited to introduce them to you once we have chosen someone. I have agreed to finish out Nate's position as committee chair until next July. So as usual, feel free to email me if you have any questions. But we also have the Cat Help email address as well. And then maybe if you do have a question using the Cat Help email, you could get a response even quicker. We have big news in Missouri Evergreen. We're going to have our first ever Missouri Evergreen Users Conference. That is going to be April 12th through the 14th in Columbia. So mark your calendars. We hope to see as many of you as we can. It's going to be, trainings and classes and get-togethers and all of that good stuff. We're still ironing out exactly what it's going to look like, but this is something that we've been wanting to have for quite a long time and is hopefully something we will be doing annually as well. So that's super exciting. Our next migrating library is Barton County. Their go live is November 14th, and there will be a cataloging freeze the week before they go live, and that's November 7th through the 13th. Of course, I will speak about this in the months leading up to it, and of course, send reminders out when we get to that date. And as we spoke about last month, the committee is currently working on a media piracy policy so we can have documentation and policy on how to handle situations where we have something counterfeit in the catalog. Hopefully we will have that completed soon. So in the notes, I put connection information to all the Missouri Evergreen Standing Committee meetings. We do have a meeting calendar on the Missouri Evergreen website that has all of our standing committee meetings on it. There's a link to that here in these notes. And the Evergreen Cataloging Interest Group, which is the wider Evergreen community, not just Missouri Evergreen. Their meetings are usually held the day after ours, Tuesday, the second Tuesday of the month at 1 o'clock. They have really good meetings and they usually have some kind of speaker, for lack of a better word. They go over something evergreeny at every meeting. And I have learned so much from the wider Evergreen community. So those are always fun to attend. So we got, like I mentioned, we got great response to what we should talk about in cataloging meetings. I can't cover everything that was sent to me at this one meeting. So I picked a handful of things that would take a little less time, and then we'll go in a little deeper to some of the more complicated things in meetings to come. So our first question was about, we wanted to review the 007 fixed field and bibliographic records. So what is the 007? The 007 is fixed length field. We just usually call it fixed fields. And they code the physical characteristics of an item. So there's set codes that are used for these. They have to go in a certain order. They have to, and they tell the computer on the back end certain things. So why are they important? Especially in Evergreen. Evergreen takes those codes and makes them into the icon of the item. So alongside other fixed fields like the 008, the 007 drives the icon display in Evergreen. So when do you use an 007? For us, fixed fields are, the 007 fixed field is primarily used for AV materials. So luckily, there's a couple things. The same string of characters is pretty much always used for any given format. So all DVDs will pretty much have this same 007 in it, same for Blu-ray, same for, all of these below. So you guys are all familiar with my copy paste document that I refer to all the time. I have all of these in a copy paste. So I keep them handy and I just pop them in there, and then I don't have to go through the wizard every time. If you do go through the wizard, I'm gonna bring up a document or bring up a record. So this is the flat text editor, of course. There's no 007 in here. So if I wanted to add one, you kind of have to trick it a little bit. So you, in the flat text editor, you have to do equals 007, and then go to the enhanced editor, and then your wizard will be there. So if you wanted to do it that way to get yourself a little more familiar with the 007 from the bottom up, you could do it this way. Or for me, what I would do, just copy and paste. So in flat text editor, I would just pop that in right there, and it puts the icon in. So if I save, the DVD bib or the DVD icon is there, but there's also a book icon there. So there's something else wrong. This is not a book. It is a where is it here?
Gee.
There it is. And then save. And it's only the DVD. So I use this example. This example we will be talking about a little later as well. So for all of these, the 007 is for audiobooks. It's the same for every audiobook, music recordings. Everything's just a little bit different for each format, but within that format, everything is the same. So that makes things easy. So if you come across something that is showing the wrong icon, is not showing an icon at all, this is your first place to look. And this kind of dovetails right into our second thing that we're going to discuss, which is the cataloging reports run by Equinox every month. We had a lot of requests to talk about these reports. These are something that we've done for years and years. They have recently been kind of overhauled a little bit by Equinox, and I think they're a little bit better. So, but every month someone new looks at them and they're like, I don't know what to do. So this is not an in-depth tutorial on step-by-step how to use these things, but this is more of an overview. I am hoping to get some kind of documentation together for these reports to help people. These are done behind the scenes using a script. So because of that, these lists are a great jumping off point. But keep in mind, there will be false positives on these lists, and we'll kind of go over a little bit what that means and what could be causing that. So for these reports in general, the overall thing that it's saying is something about the bib and the holding on that bib. The combination of those is alerting that there's some kind of contradiction somewhere. So it sees something that is a little out of sync. So remember that when the script finds a bib that is the issue, it then puts it on the list for each holding library. So if something is wrong with that bib, then every single library that has a holding on that bib will have it on their list. So if someone has been working on their list and they have fixed it, you could come across it in your list and be like, nothing's wrong with this, it looks great. So if you come across something like that, maybe take a look at when the last time it was edited, and someone previously could have just edited it when they were working on their monthly list. So keep that in mind. Also with these lists, it is the prime place to find potential merges. So not only should you always try to merge items when you can, sometimes it's easiest to just merge them instead of editing a faulty bib. So for the list of aid materials, the things that to look at first is the icon showing as corresponding to the format of the bib. So if not, that needs to be fixed. That usually again is going to be that 008. I'm sorry, the 007. So let's bring up. So this one we already kind of went through. We saw that it was a book icon. So I went in and I added the 007, which added the DVD icon, but it still had the book icon as well because it was working in tandem with this 007 and then this the type field in the 008 as well. So everything kind of has to be in sync for the icon to come up. So this would be, that was why this one was on that. I just went and picked a random one. So this one was on the mismatched DVD list because it says, hey, you're holding on this. It says DVD. The bib record says DVD, but the icon was saying book. So that was the reason why it was flagged and put on that list. More often than not, it is the icons, which then kind of points to other issues in the bib record, but it's saying this icon is wrong. So we can go in and fix it and fix other things in those bibs while we're in there as well. So I picked a music one too. So mismatched music bib or report rather. So this one was on the list. Again, I just went and picked a random one. And the bib record, it says it's a disc. It's, you know, it's not the greatest record, but it's not horrible. And the item says that it's music and everything. So why is this even on the list? It's because the icon is not showing here. So again, we would go do the 007 and all of that stuff, but I'm going to look and see. So this is the one that I was working at. There's already one in the catalog. These two can be merged, and that in and of itself will fix the 007 field. And then, you know, you can merge these two, and then all you have to do is make sure that this bib record is in good shape, and then your problem is solved by just merging them. Let's see. I spoke about false positives on these lists. I know my library, we have a lot of things that come up on these lists every single month, and I'm just used to it by now. So on the electronic bib one, let me see. So items on electronic bibs. Now, we don't want something on an ebook record. That definitely, we don't want that. But all of my, like my launch pads, all of that kind of stuff comes up on this list month after month. And I just know that they're going to be there. They're cataloged correctly. It has the icon I wanted on there correctly. It's just false positive because it says, hey, this is an electronic bib. And it's not exactly the type of electronic bib that we're talking about that we don't want items on, because we don't want them on ebook bibs. But and then another example is on the DVD list, my whole collection of video games comes up on that list every month. So that's hundreds and hundreds of items that I know that just gets overlooked. I don't need to check those because it comes up on the list because my call number or my shelving location for that is video games. So it has seen the word video in somewhere in my holding and just placed it on that list. That's just, it sees that, it flags it, it's looking for those keywords. So there's nothing wrong with my bibs. It was a false positive because it just thinks that something might be off. Anybody have any questions so far? We've talked mostly about AV materials for these. The other big question in these reports are the mismatched bibs, large print bibs, and then large print items. There are big differences between those two. The mismatch large print bibs, everything that comes up on the list, the records reflect that the bib itself is large print, but something about your item is causing conflict. So this report is looking for something in your item to reflect that it's also LP, like the bib is. So this is great for finding regular print items that have somehow made their way onto large print bibs. But there's also reasons for false positives for this. I think we are getting less and less false positives on these lists. But again, if you have a valid reason that your items come up on these lists every month, that doesn't mean that they're wrong. That just means something, the script doesn't like it. That doesn't mean you have to change it. But this list is great for finding things that are legitimately wrong. But possible false positives for this one is, let's see. Again, nothing in your holding is reflected that it's large print, which again, might be fine for your library. Maybe you shelve your large print Westerns in the Western area instead of a large print area. So your shelving location is Western instead of large print. That's fine for your library, but it's going to flag that because it doesn't see large print anywhere in your items holding. Or maybe you don't put your juvenile large print in a large print shelving location. You just put it in juvenile fiction. So it would flag those because it thinks, hey, this bib says it's large print, but nothing in your holding is saying it's large print. So those are okay. It's just, wanting you to take a look at them. And again, the more you do it, you'll start notice, I know to look over all of my juvenile large prints in this report every month because we do not put them in large print. We just shelve them in our regular juvenile fiction. So I'm just used to by now knowing what to skip after doing these over and over every month. So the other large print report is mismatched large print items. So the item itself, the holding on it reflects that it's LP, but the bib may not be reflecting that. This report shows it helps in finding large print items that have somehow made their way onto regular print bibs. And the usual problem with this report is that the icon is not displaying. And for that, you have to have the correct fixed field. I'm just going to use this. I know this is not a large print book, but in this form field, it has to be a D here for the large print icon to come up. So even though this is not a book, if I put D there, and I made this a book, then that makes this a large print, because those are the two things that drive this icon in Missouri Evergreen. This form field has to be a D, and of course it's going to be a book. So I'm going to change this back real quick. So we had a lot of questions about the parts report as well. It's the very top one. It is humongous, everybody. So it's the only one when you download it. It downloads as a zip file because it is so large. We have step-by-step instructions that Nate made last year on how to kind of get exactly what you want to see in. That's the only thing that you will see in your Excel sheet if you use these instructions. So I will send those instructions out as well as the notes for the meeting today. Really, we all know how important parts are for Missouri Evergreen, for audiovisual especially, because this is a very patron forward issue. If everybody doesn't have parts on their items, then it causes issues for the patrons, and that's not something that we want. If anybody needs explanation a little bit more on why parts are so important, go ahead and email Cat Help, and we can certainly help you understand that a little more. And the last thing that I just kind of wanted to talk about, well, before I move on, anybody have any questions about the reports, the cataloging reports that we get every month?
Kate?
Okay, yes.
It's Allison. I don't have a question, but I just wanted to give a quick reminder. If you're on this meeting, please put your name and library in the chat so we can track your presence.
Thank you, Allison. The last thing we're going to go over is the Missouri Evergreen Cataloging Listserv. We're going to call it Etiquette. We get a lot of emails going back and forth. Thank you to everybody who sends those emails, and especially to everybody that answers those emails and fixes their items. We get a lot of those every day, some of us more than others. So for everyone's ease and for streamlining things, I think that we should kind of have loose guidelines on how we should email to make it most helpful for everybody. So in the subject line of the email, we definitely want the TCN of the record that has the main issue and the title of it. It was also recommended when we were discussing this on the listserv to include maybe series information or format information. So here's a example of a subject line, the TCN, and then the title and author. That way someone can, quickly see, if they've got 15 emails in a row, this is going to be very helpful for them to streamline how they're going to look up their items and what they need to do. And then the contents of the email, we just want a clear description of what you guys need done to that bib record that you came across. If possible, you could include the TCNs of any bibs that you are suggesting that items be moved to. So I went in my email, I dug through my email and found an old email from Ron. He's always very good at describing what needs to be done for when he comes across things in the bib record. So an example email, it reads, this record has 2 sets of ISBNs, one set for the hardcover and one set for the mass market paperback, which we cannot have on the same record. I've removed the mass market paperback ISBN from the hardcover bib. Please check your copies on this record. And if they are mass market paperbacks, please move them to TCN such and such. So there's no question on the issue that he came across when he was in the catalog, what he did to remedy that situation, to make it more clear to people coming to that bib after the fact, and then his call to action for anybody with holdings on that bib to check and see what they own. And if they do own that mass market paperback, then they can move it to the other TCN that he named there. So that's a prime example of just a great email to send out with, you know, easy instructions on what to do, and the, you know, calling out what the issue is with the bib in the first place. Any questions about Listserv etiquette? Any other suggestions on something that we can do better with the Listserv etiquette?
Kate, it's Allison again. Usually if I find that it's just 1 or 2 or 3 libraries that have holdings on a record, I just email those particular libraries to save everybody else the time of looking it up.
Thank you, Allison. I lost my microphone there for a minute, or my hearing, so I didn't hear what you said, but I'm sure it was a great suggestion. So that's all I was going to go over in today's meeting. I feel like we covered 3 pretty important things. Please continue to send any questions to Cat Help that you have. Does anybody have any questions about what we covered today? Raised hand. Was that on purpose, Ben? Do you have a question? Okay, what's up?
I was going to say, I know I always check these TCNs, but I don't respond because I feel like that's a waste of everybody seeing an email.
Yeah, I can see your point there. There's, you know, 2 schools of thought on that. If I have an item on that bib record, I'm most likely going to, you know, thank the person for coming across the issue and say that I'll check mine. If I don't have holdings on there, then I'm not going to, you know, respond to the email. The most important thing, of course, whether you respond or not, is to actually go check the bib to see if you have items on it and actually fix it. I personally love seeing, hey, my item was on the wrong record. Thank you. I fixed it, you know, that kind of thing. So.
All right.
Okay, everybody. I can't believe that our next month is already September, but the next meeting will be September 12th at 11. We do have a general membership meeting this Thursday. Again, all of those types of meetings are on the Missouri Evergreen calendar on the Missouri Evergreen website. So if nobody has any questions, you can email cathelp@moevergreenlibraries.org. And I will see you all next month. Thanks, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you, Kate.
Thanks, Kate.